It's time for us to see the headlines. Let's see what the newspapers in Nigeria are all saying today. And to make sense of some of the headlines and for us to deduce meanings to some of the things, I have Oladeinde Ariyo here, one of our regulars. Good morning.
Where's my birthday presents?
It was your birthday?
Yesterday.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Happy birthday. I think we have to organize a party after this time.
Just give me a gift.
Okay.
A car. A Rolls Royce, preferably.
Rolls Royce. Okay.
Am I greedy?
No, you're not. You're not.
Life is about choices.
Of course. And I also have joining me from Enugu on Zoom, Ambrose Igboke. Ambrose, good morning.
Good morning. I will give Oladeinde 10 liters of well.
Ambrose, thank you so much. That's the best. That's the best gift right now.
I'm proud of you.
10 liters of fuel for you. I'll top it up to.
It's now sold for 900 naira per liter.
You see. Well, all right. So let's commence. News Direct is where we're starting from right now. News Direct says National Convention. Confusion as APC postpones to March 26, introduces zonal congresses. A clear case of abuse of power, President APC Rebirth Group. Okay. Calculated attempt by Buni-led caretaker committee to elongate tenure. Audu is saying this. Okay. That's all on the front page of the News Direct. Now let's go to this Nigeria. This Nigeria says postponed convention, criticisms trail APC backtrack. A party settles for March 26. Shehu Sani mocks ruling party. And ex-PGF DG Lukman blames Buni. Right? All this also on the front page of this Nigeria. All right, let's go further. Leadership newspaper says APC convention won't hold in February. Party shifts exercise to March 26, holds zonal congresses March 12. The stakeholders kick as professionals back Buni-led caretaker committee. Right? Now let's move to the Guardian newspaper. Guardian says confusion as APC shifts convention to March 26. And Nabena insists Buni committee can't be stampeded. Rebirth Group cries foul, urges Buhari to wade in. All right, that's the Guardian. Blueprint says APC move makes U-turn, holds national convention March 26. Zonal congresses alien to our culture. APC Rebirth is saying this. Okay, from there let's go to Daily Trust. Buni committee dilly-dallies on APC convention, exercise fixed for March 26. No ulterior motive in our decisions. All eyes on Buhari as he meets governors today. Okay. Now let's go to first news. APC postpones national convention by 1 month. Exactly 1 month. APC postpones national convention by 1 month. Right? That's the first news. And then the Nation is next. Nation says APC shifts convention to March 26 amid grumblings. Governor's protest changed indefinite postponement plan. Okay, that's the Nation newspaper. From there, let's go to Daily Sun. Convention, APC settles for March 26, fixes sale of forms for March 9. Holds zonal congresses March 14th. Hostile reactions trail decision. The party leaders meet president today. Okay, that's the Daily Sun. And now let's go to this day. This day is again APC moves convention now to hold March 26. Okay, that's what this day says. Vanguard is where we're going next, and it says upsets as APC shifts, fixes convention dates in hours, right? And initially postpones convention indefinitely. Hours later, backpedals, announces March 26th date. Convention activities begin March 24 and March 31. And APC governors deliberate on issues to meet Buhari today. It's mutiny by Yahoo politicians, says APGFDG. All right, these are all opinions in there. That's the Vanguard newspaper. From there, let's go to Nigerian Tribune. Nigerian Tribune says, after a 7-hour meeting, APC fixes convention for March 26. Reverses self on zonal congresses. An aspirant, others fume. 3 governors behind postponement. Sources are revealing this. Okay, from there, let's go to Daily Times. All right. Daily Times is talking about something else. Assent to electoral bill. Presidency warns interest groups against civil disorder. Right? That's Daily Times. Business Days next. It says vaccine production seen helping Nigeria beyond COVID. Vaccine production seen helping Nigeria beyond COVID. All right. From there, let's go to, excuse me, national economy. April kickoff date for Nigeria Air, doubtful. Ministry officials in the dark on launch date. And key components for airline launch absent. Key components for airline launch absent. Okay. Now let's keep that aside as well. Let's go to Punch newspaper, which is the last one now. Subsidy is the focus here. Labor fumes as IMF warns federal government against fresh borrowings. IMF says Nigeria likely to depend on CBN overdrafts to fund 2.6 trillion naira subsidy. Do away with funds, advice, loans. TUC, NLC tell federal government. Okay, all that on the front page of the Punch newspaper. Okay, let's see what others are saying here. All right, now let's delve into these issues. First, let's start with the very prominent headlines here across various newspapers. APC convention. Now there has been lots of, in-house wranglings here and there, consultation and so on, meetings through the nights, every day and night there are meetings. I can imagine the phone calls from, party faithful or party leaders here and there, meeting in small groups, meeting in larger groups on daily basis. But all of this, what do you make? One would say these are the beauties of democracy. Others would say democracy. Others would say, well, it's all confusion. What do you make of this?
For me, it doesn't reflect the beauty of democracy.
Why not?
What this reflects is a party that lacks organization and cohesion. I have lost count of the number of times they've announced and postponed their convention. And if you ask, when last was the convention held? It's been a very long time. It shouldn't be like that. It's like some people have prophecies now, or they've been told by their mullahs that that convention must not hold. Perhaps if it holds, it might suppose the end of APC. Because I don't understand. The party has to meet, they have to organize, they have to inject fresh blood, fresh ideas, because the country is not doing any well, okay, and it's being managed by the same party. It's best common sense, okay. When we think, oh, it's not an issue, it's an issue, because we expect leadership strategies to flow forth from the party to the government. But this is whereby they cannot organize ordinary convention. It's now looking like rocket science. It's indicative of a sick house. And the earlier they get their games together, the best for the country and for the party.
Okay. All right. Now, Ambrose, let me come to you on this. The point there is, one would say, National Convention, what's the big deal? Why can't leaders who say we have the same ideology, we have the same party plans, we have the same vision for the country, come together in an agreed location and decide who votes for who becomes what, as the case may be? What's the big deal, actually?
Well, there's no big deal. And it baffles me because, as Ariyo said, one starts wondering if you cannot organize your intra-party convention, then what? How do you now run your state as a governor who is the chairman of a caretaker committee? Then how do you now run the country as a party? So it all exposes the inadequacies, the intrigues, and to show that APC has not really become a cohesive party, because the various blocks that form the APC are still holding on to their various factions. For example, the CPC block is there, the ACN block is there, the NPDP block is there, and some splinter groups from the ANPP were also there. So, and then some conglomeration of disgruntled elements that come together to join APC when it was formed. So it is unfortunate that each of these blocks are still holding on to their primary parties or political blocks, and the loyalty is still to their initial party and not to the APC. That is what is playing out here. So when one block states this, another block within the party will view it from the prism of, oh, they are having their own ideology, they are having their own agenda, not for the party, and then they'll come up with their own. That is what is actually playing out in the APC. And then Nigerians were bewildered, were shocked, were surprised that a sitting governor became a chairman of a party. I don't know where, what kind of political textbook that came from, but it is very clear now that it was a total mistake to have a sitting governor to become chairman of a political party. That is itself makes it very difficult, because, for example, when the APC governors are meeting and trying to take some decisions to influence the party, and then one of them is the chairman of the party, who also have some other interests beyond the governor's interest because the chairman of the party, how do they resolve their matter? And I think that is why it's becoming more complicated for the APC governors to speak with one voice. Because when you speak from one, we are speaking from one particular viewpoint and then annexing your points together and presenting a common front. But when you have dual roles, as Buni is having, he's trying to protect the other side. He's also trying to protect his interests as a governor.
All right,
so
but the point there is, Ambrose. Ambrose. The point there is, he's the chairman of the party in acting capacity.
Well, he has executive powers, whether it is acting or substantive. Acting, he has the capacity. He's the one in charge. So let's forget about the nomenclature. He's in charge of the party, whether in acting capacity. But for right now, he has the executive power. That's what I want to use.
Okay.
So you have the executive party, they're the one running the party.
Okay. Let me put you on hold and come to the studio.
If I may remind you, it's been active for how long now? For a long time, and the constitution is very clear. When you wield executive power, appointive position, you cannot accommodate such a high office.
Yeah, but the point
is
is
illegality.
They needed
in the first place.
Yes, they need a convention for a new chairman to emerge.
I know. In the first place, he ought not to have been given that office. It was an aberration, and as they say in law, it was null and void ab initio. For all I care.
Well, in some quarters, some say that he managed the affairs of the party well.
That is why convention has been postponed several times.
All right.
That's very well.
Let me stick with you, Oladeinde. The point there is there are issues of grumblings within the political party.
Yeah, normally, people will grumble.
The convention that was, in fact, the arrangement was that some of the reconciliations would have been done and dusted, so that going into the convention, everything would have been amicable. But with this postponement now, do you see the possibility of settling some of these internal wranglings before?
The process started from the ward level, local government level, to the state level and zonal level. Now it's at the federal level that things became stunted, and then they could not move forward. The question now is, those who already have been selected or elected and were waiting to advance the process, they will have been disillusioned. Naturally, there are pockets of interest groups, but it now shows very clearly that the legacy parties that formed APC, they are still very distinctive, operating underground, as against what we, are being made to see as a front. Because you begin to ask yourself, why and how has it become so difficult and impossible to arrange a national convention for those of picking those who will run the affairs of the party at all levels? I mean, but because of enlightened self-interest across different zones, across the legacy parties, and of course across maybe tribal and religious divides, it's not impossible. But you see, for as long as we allow this to happen, we are not building Nigeria. We are separating. We are still not uniting the country. And without cohesion, we can't move things forward.
Yeah.
Remember, I once told you that I'm not an apostle of what do you call quota system. All those things, they didn't help us.
Zoning and quota.
They're not helpful.
Rotation.
They're not helpful.
Okay. Now, one would say, of course, the ideals of it could undermine merit.
Meritocracy and promote mediocrity.
But if you look at the peculiarities, there's always the issue of peculiarities, because democracy is up there, just like an ideal situation. But if you cascade it down, there are no ideals anywhere.
It's an illusion that can be made to look real.
And in according to the peculiarities of different people.
The CAP, that's the federal level now, must be functional, must be active, and must be devoid of acrimonies that we're experiencing.
All right, let me put you on hold. Ambrose, the point there is the party is introducing zonal congresses, which a lot of people say that this is not the conventional way of running some of the affairs of the party. Zonal congresses. What do you make of this?
I think the zonal congresses is a ploy by the party's hierarchy to be able to control the outcome of the convention. It's a smart move by them because you can now do like a micro management of the convention rather than allowing everybody come from the different parts of the country to a certain place, maybe Abuja, to have the convention. So you have a larger crowd, you have a macro party elements to manage. But when you do zonal congresses, what you are trying to achieve there is to be able to use your might. For example, if you do it along 7 days or some days, you send your foot soldiers there to micromanage each zone so that the outcome can be in your favor. I think that is just the final grand scale of what they're trying to do. So it's a smart move, and then by the people who want to entrench their own interests. In politics, you don't begrudge people who want to manipulate this. Democracy is about manipulating the system everywhere in the world, be it in Europe, America, or in Nigeria. So that is what democracy is all about, where the minority will manipulate the majority to assent to what the minority wants. That is what democracy is when you look at it generally. So it's less for the party faithful to say whether they want to resist it. Some of the people who feel it is favorable to them. For example, if governors from a particular zone can come together and say, this is what we want, they can even more influence it in their zone than they want to do in Abuja. And then the Abuja people can also now negotiate directly with governors or who are politicians or stakeholders from that particular zone to determine the outcomes. And when this happens across the country, you have pockets of these agreements. And then when they aggregate together, they will now find out that the outcome will be tailored to what the party hierarchy wants. So it's a smart move by them. But the question now is it constitutional? Is it in the APC's constitution? Or is the organization of conventions left open to the plans and deliberations of the sitting executive council? So it's left for the party people to look into their constitution and see if that is allowed. Then if it's not allowed, perhaps they can challenge it in the law courts and see what comes out of it.
All right. Maybe something is necessitating a doctrine of necessity within the within the political party itself. All right.
Well, they have to resolve the crisis. It's a crisis situation. And I hope that the choosing date now will be strictly adhered to. And for once, they put that behind them so they can face the larger business of managing the country.
Okay. Now, let's get into this next issue I'd like us to talk about. The National Economy newspaper says April kickoff date for Nigeria Air is doubtful. Ministry officials in the dark on launch date. And then key components for airline launch are absent. That is what National Economy said. Now, excuse me, the Minister of Aviation had announced that the Nigeria Air will kick off in April, and a lot of people were happy. In fact, we discussed this on the program sometime. But the way it is, anything can still happen. But anything can still happen. Hard work can still bring it to be. But take us back to the days of Nigeria Airways, and then back now. We've had beautiful, functional airline system before. Why is it so difficult, challenging to bring back what we already had mastered on the African continent?
I will decline the use of the word mastered.
Oh, okay.
If we had mastered it, we wouldn't have gotten it wrong.
No, but if we didn't master it, we wouldn't have gotten to the level we got with Nigeria Airways in the 80s.
Don't forget that all of these things are processes. They are never singular events. Okay. I grew up seeing people obtaining free tickets to fly on Nigerian Airways. A whole family. We travel from here to New York, to London, to wherever. Free tickets. Okay? That was when they started sounding the death knell for Nigerian Airways. And this new vision, so-called, the problems that led to the death of Nigerian Airways, have they been isolated and strategies brought up against them so that they will have a reoccurrence? Remember, this was the first time that this Air Nigeria thing will come on. Yeah. At a time, so much was said to have been squandered on creating just the logo. And now they said the airline will come up. Economy has no business running down the intention. But that is the reality that they saw. Let's not do this hush-hush fire brigade approach and say, oh, we have given a date, let us fly. It would look like a particular state a long time ago. They promised that they have built a power station. On the due date, they just rented a generator, to supply power to that place. And immediately after that ceremony, public ceremony, there was no power in that place for a long time.
Because the generator
I can mention the place if you want me to mention it.
Okay, no, I'm not pressing you to mention the place.
In case you are in doubt. So let it not be the same case. It won't be in our interest.
All right.
We must do it from the zero, not the one now. Planning stage, we must get it right.
All right, Ambrose, I wonder what you make of this. Anytime Nigeria Air or Nigeria Airways, whatever the thing is, the national carrier is mentioned, a lot of Nigerians are excited, but somehow we're still struggling to see how this can kick off and come to stay.
Nigerians, our ego is bruised, and we are humbled and very dissatisfied when we have fellow African countries like Ethiopia, running Ethiopia Air. We have Maroc Air, Morocco. We have South African Airlines. We have small countries running their airlines. We even have a Nigerian who was a national carrier for Gambia, SLOC. So we have a Nigerian who is the owner of Gatwick, Heathrow. So what is wrong with us? Nigeria Airways, apart from Nigeria Airways, we had the NNS, the Nigeria Shipping Line then, that we're very proud of, bearing the Nigerian flag and Nigerian logo, flying across the world.
Yeah.
Why can't we do that? Look at Lufthansa. Look at Germany. The DHL all over the world is a government company. It's run by German. It's owned by German government. Look at our equivalent of NNPC in Saudi Arabia, Saudi Aramco. Look at the equivalent in Russia, Gazprom. Look at the equivalent in Brazil, Petrobras. Look at the kind of businesses they are doing all over the world. And one NNPC is collecting money from the government instead and cannot run anything. So that is where we found ourselves. Remember that this Nigeria Airways wanted to be resuscitated during the time of Obasanjo. They brought in Virgin Atlantic, Richard Branson. Richard Branson came into Nigeria, and he saw that it was so hostile that you couldn't stay.
The days of Virgin Nigeria.
Like Richard Branson, Virgin, he ran away. He was disvirgin.
All right.
He ran away.
Okay.
He was not able to do anything anymore.
All right, Ambrose.
Jimo Ibrahim came, and
all right, Ambrose, due to time, we have to leave you here now. I must thank you so much for your contribution on the program today. Thank you very much for your time. And Oladeinde, Ariyo, thank you so much for coming as well.
My pleasure.
I really appreciate both of you.
My Rolls Royce, please.
Thank you. Ambrose said we'll bring you 10 liters of fuel.
Okay.
I'll make it 20. So
Okay, no.
for your happy birthday anyway. Well done.